And if a group of people sit there and go, I'm not creative, or I don't have innovative ability, whether it's right or wrong, evidence-based or not, it doesn't matter. That's what we've got to address. What's a better belief to have? Let's look at the benefits of shifting the belief versus the benefit of continuing to say you can't be creative. And then if the benefits outweigh the benefits of staying the same, well then let's imagine what it looks like. Imagine in 6 months where you've come up with a new creative concept. Or imagine what your family would say when you get promoted because of your innovative ability. It's something you never dreamt of doing, but it happened. Imagine what that would feel like. Imagine the sense of satisfaction you'd have. And then go and do it.
Welcome to Season 5 of Manage Self, Lead Others with host Nina Sunday. This season we're going deeper into AI, innovation, and the invisible patterns that shape how we lead. Each episode, bold thinkers join us to explore how to lead with intention, elevate team culture, and stay future ready. The future of leadership starts with the questions we ask.
Let me ask you this question. Can you draw? Most people answer no, quickly, confidently, as if it's a fact, like their shoe size. But here's the thing. Put those same people in a room with my guest today, Anthony Bonnici, and inside 60 minutes, they're holding their own pastel sketch. A real one. Something they frame. So the question isn't really, can you draw? The question is, who told you that you couldn't? And more to the point, why did you believe them? My guest today is Anthony Bonnici, keynote speaker and author of the book Brain Blinkers. The title comes from the blinkers we fit on racehorses on purpose so they can see only straight ahead. Trouble is, somewhere along the way, most of us were fitted with a pair too. We just never noticed. Anthony spent 13 years in the pharmaceutical industry, leading sales and marketing teams with brands worth over $150 million. Then, in 2005, he removed a blinker of his own, walked away from corporate life, and has since worked with hundreds of thousands of people across 5 continents, helping them recognise and remove the 3 mental barriers to high performance: limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, and fear. In this conversation, we back up the truck, as Anthony puts it, to find the belief hiding underneath the behaviour. We talk about the 2 voices of self-talk, what a leader should say when they spot a team member's blinker, and what they should never say. Welcome, Anthony Bonnici.
Thank you so much, Nina.
And this conversation is well overdue. We're both CSPs, which is Certified Speaking Professional in Professional Speakers Australia. I'm delighted to have you on because this was such an easy, quick read, Brain Blinkers. And look, I had to think about it for a minute. You know, it's the blinkers that people put on horses to stop them being distracted, to keep moving forward. So I love metaphors. Earlier, episode 177, I think, is with Larry Armstrong about his use of metaphors to motivate people.
And the problem is we blinker ourselves for things that we don't even know we've got blinkers on. So the work of my last 21 and a half years has been around helping people identify them and remove them. And
people are closing themselves off from opportunities, from saying yes. And in fact, what's very interesting, I think you talk about in your workshops or in your presentations, like presentations, what's the largest number of people that you got people to draw?
With the use of technology and some helpers on the ground, we got 600 odd people in a room to identify the belief that holds them back, which most people say they can't draw. And so as a proof of concept, and we don't do it every time, but it's a wonderful opportunity to get people to say, you're now going to draw this, and it's a beautiful beachside setting. And to watch people sit there and go, but I can't, is the beauty, because there's the blinker. And because they haven't done it before, the automatic thing in our brain is, well, you can't do it. So what we do in a short period of time, in 60 minutes, is just give them process, technique, and a little bit of confidence to go, well, watch how this can come together. A little bit of a program, a system to make it come to life.
Well, we'll get into the limiting beliefs. You got 3 ones that you named a little bit later, but I want to deal with the coffee. Don't drink bad coffee. That's a metaphor.
Another metaphor. So under the umbrella of brain blinkers, these mental barriers, I actually work on 3. So the first one is limiting beliefs, which we've talked a little bit about. The coffee acronym in a metaphor format is really describing 6 ways that we self-sabotage. Okay, so Limiting beliefs, brain blinker number 1. Self-sabotage is brain blinker number 2. And fear is the third brain blinker that we go into. Coffee is an acronym, COFFEE,
That's
for
right.
6 ways that we self-sabotage. And so this is where the little devil comes on our shoulder and the self-talk, and the 6 ways that I talk about. C is for catastrophize, when we make things worse than they are. O is for when we overgeneralise or put everyone in a basket. So all the isms of this. If you're racist, you believe all people of this particular skin colour or race is like this, right? And that's the overgeneralisation.
Yes.
Because it's not always the way, right? The
All
filter,
people are.
old people are, young people are, Gen Z and whatever, right? So it's a dangerous place to play. It's a form of self-sabotage. Then you've got F for filter, where we choose to remember what we want. So people who are, again, talking about highly successful people, quite often I find when I'm working with them that they're negative filterers, meaning all they look for in feedback and response and output is the stuff they can improve. Much to the imposter syndrome thing, right? Which is, what did I get wrong? You got 95 out of 100 in an exam. How did I lose the 5? So that in the short term is great because you'll continually improve, but long term it becomes masochistic. We start to beat ourselves up. So that's the negative filtering. Then you've got forecasting, people who are predicting failure before it even has the chance to arrive.
Oh, well, that's negative self-talk, isn't it? It becomes
it is,
a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And it becomes the truth. You're exactly right, Nina. So that forecasting, that'll never work, or as I like to sometimes explain, you'll have a group of people and you put forward an idea and say, what do you think about this? And everyone goes, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's good. And then negative Nelly in the corner says, oh, we tried that back in 1985. Didn't work then. It's not going to work now. And then all of a sudden people go, yeah, you're right. So you're exactly, on
yes,
the money.
the Professor Emeritus Change Management, John P. Cotter, in his book, Our Icebergs Are Melting, he called that personality the no-no. That's the no-no. No, they'll always say no.
They'll always say no.
And you can't put a no-no in a policy team.
What a great thing. And I guess Edward de Bono's work with 6 thinking hats, right? Oh, yes. The black hat, that's the no-no. That's like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? And you know what? There is a role for the black hat. There is a role for a no-no.
Oh, yes.
But just not all the time. And that's
right, because you've got to preempt what could go wrong.
Correct.
And be prepared for it. But that doesn't mean it will go wrong.
Correct. That's exactly right. And it's not all the time.
Or that you should stop embarking on the journey anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, and then the last 2 E's are around, the E is for emotionalise. So that's when people take things personally. Something goes wrong and it's about you, not the thing. And the last one is a word that I made up 21 years ago, Nina, called effectualise. Being at the effect of things rather than the cause. This is the work of Smith, Hickman and Connor, the Oz principle, where, you've got a line in life and you say, listen, if you're below the line, you're at the effect of things. And how do you know you're there? You'll blame others, deny it's your responsibility, play the victim. And we've all been there. We all go there, right? And the problem with that is that you can't see a solution. You're always focused on the problem. Whereas if you get above it, you can say, right, I now know the problem. What am I going to do, or we as a team, going to do about this? And that is much more likely to bring a solution to the table than being perpetually below the line.
That's a very nuanced concept, Anthony. Have you got an example where a manager has sort of applied that?
Yes, a great example. So I've worked with a lot of different industries and different organisations, and the pharmaceutical industry is close to my heart because I worked there for 13 years. So straight out of uni, sales rep into marketing roles and then into people leadership roles, then got made redundant, big changes in structure and like we all do. And that's when I started my business, right? So I've done a lot of work in the industry and I love it. I know it. I know a lot of the roles. And working with leaders in that industry over a number of years, I see sales and marketing teams. So I'm speaking a bit of a macro level in a lot of pharmaceutical organisations, or any organisation. The sales team basically are complaining that the marketing team don't give them the right materials for their customers. They don't know my customer. Whereas the marketing team is saying, we do know, because we research, our sales team doesn't implement, right? They're not implementing our programs. And so that's classic below the line behaviour, right? It's your fault, blame, denial. No, you shouldn't be doing this.
And that's also creates silo effect as well.
Absolutely.
Us and them thinking.
Us and them thinking, right?
Yeah.
So here we are. Here's the line. You're below this line. Good leaders, and I help them do this, is to say, righto, what is actually the problem? Because the problem is below the line, right? And then the sales guys will say, the marketing guys don't give us the right stuff. The marketing guys, blame. You say, hang on, is it a resource thing? Is it a job delineation issue? Is it a strategic issue? And both parties come together and say, well, we all want to sell. We all want to hit our targets. But the problem might be, a lack of strategy. Let's just use that as an example. In one company it was. So poor strategy for both divisions. So we said, right, that's the problem. All right, no one's now allowed, that's where you draw a line. You're not allowed to talk about the problem anymore. Sales or marketing. And as soon as you talk about the problem, you're out type of thing, right? So you draw a line because you know what the problem is.
Yes.
No more time, no more expensive man hours or women hours focused on that.
Person
because
hours.
we know it. Person hours, yeah. We don't focus on that anymore because you know it. All of our energy goes above the line to say, as a result of this issue with strategy, what are we going to do about it? And that's where heads come together and say, oh, all right, maybe we need sales and marketing involved in the strategic team. Okay, good. And then the directors do this, and out come the outcomes. Because if they've finished arguing, there's still an issue that there's no strategy, but they've addressed it by going, what are we going to do about it? So that's the ownership, the accountability, is at the top. And within hours, they walk out of the room going, oh, that feels a lot better. And all you've implemented is a nuanced strategy, which is this above and below the line thinking. Which
So you're saying that people get stuck talking about the problem instead of saying, okay, that's the problem, what's the fix? And let's brainstorm the fix.
Because when you're below the line, you really can't see the solution. You're so focused on them. It's them. It's not my problem. In the other company that I worked at, it was never this hard. La-di-da-di-da. We're so focused being down here that you need a little bit of a circuit breaker to go, okay, let's first agree on the problem. Is there a problem and what does it look like? Well, maybe there's a couple of different problems.
Yes.
And then once we know it and we all agree that there is this problem, you draw a line in the sand and say no one's allowed to talk about the problem anymore because we know it. Not because we don't think it's there. It is definitely there. There's an acceptance of a problem. It's just what we do is the next step.
So by the sounds of things, you actually consult with companies, maybe with a small team, to actually get them to, so maybe they've hit an impasse or an obstacle, and you actually can go in there and sort of, team repair,
in a way.
repair?
And it's funny, Nina, because the team repairs, goodness me, that could be a new brand, let me tell you. No, more often than not, with the hundreds of thousands of people that I've had the fortune of working with, it's not really the repair thing. It's they're going good, or they've got a tough target to achieve, or there's been a change in direction in the organisation and people are tentative with the change. That's mostly the situation. And the work with Brain Blinkers is to help them go, all right, we're here. What do we need just to get to here? Just a little bit of an increment, or see an opportunity that they might not have seen in the past. The repair thing does sometimes happen, but that's done by express invitation, where I'm working with someone, usually after we've worked on the program together.
Yes.
And then the senior people say, well, we've actually got an issue right here. Can we dig into that?
And that might be personal coaching, one-on-one.
Oh, it can be. More often than not, it can be one or two people. And I can bring two, maybe senior people or not so senior people together. But more often than not, we've done the platform. They're now aware of what's going on. And then I can go, righto, we've talked about this. Now let's implement this at a one-on-one level.
Very interesting work that you're doing, Anthony. Now, I really want to get onto negative self-talk because that's my pet peeve. Most people just say that they're unconscious about the messages they're telling themselves. So you've got an angle on that. Let's hear yours.
So the whole, those 6 ways, the coffee model are the 6. There's many more than 6. There's like 30 or 40 ways that we actually self-sabotage. I just talk about 6.
That's right.
But if you're doing one or a combination of those, if you're filtering or predicting failure or overgeneralizing, a way to fix it, which is the really powerful thing to do at the end. And in the book, I talk about a 4-step process, and it's ACID. It's this is the 4-step, acronym, right? ACID.
The acid
A
test.
is to be aware of it. So Nina, the fact that you are actually saying, oh, I tend to do that. Or if someone says, I've got this particular limiting belief that I don't believe I'm smart enough or good enough to take on a higher role. So A is the awareness. The challenge, C is when we say, right, we know it doesn't serve us. Having that behavior doesn't serve us. So let's challenge the belief that's around it. And if you say, I always take things personally, all right? what might be a better belief to hold? And it might
Well,
be
getting
something.
rid of the word always is a
There you
start.
go. Right. And so quite often, you're exactly right, Nina. The binary nature of our beliefs and thinking is
Yeah.
usually the problem, right? I always take it personally, or I can't help but take things personally. An alternate, or what I call a better belief, might be
Yes.
more often than not, I don't actually need to take it personally. Or
Right.
something like, and this has to be in your own language, more often than not, it's the thing, not me. Might be another way to look at it. It's the thing. So
Exactly.
that might be a better
Exactly.
belief to hold, right? So
Yeah.
you make a choice at this stage, and then then you say, right, what's the benefit of changing that belief? And if the benefit is, oh, I'd have less pressure on myself, I wouldn't take things as personally, and that would mean I'd be free to put forward my opinion. I'd probably go for jobs that I didn't used to think I could go for, etc., etc. So out
Yeah.
come the benefits of changing, but then we balance up like a seesaw. What's the benefit of continuing to hang on to the old way of thinking?
Oh, the secondary gain.
Secondary gain, you got it. That's the psychological principle underneath it, which is the benefit of continuing to believe that you always take things personally. Might be, I'm not saying it is, but it might be that's how you've thought for 48 years. That's
Or
what you've
that
held
might
true.
be how you get attention and sympathy.
You got it. Attention and sympathy. That might be the draw. And it's not until you go through this sort of cognitive process to go, all right, the benefits for change, yeah, but what are the benefits for hanging on to the way of thinking? It might be identity. It might be attention. There's a myriad of things. And then you'll only really change when the benefits of changing outweigh the benefits of staying the same. The I and
Oh,
D are
yes. Oh,
simple.
well, I think as Mr. Anthony Robbins says, people only change when the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of changing.
That's it. That's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It really is. And then when that is clear, when the benefit of
Yes.
change outweighs the benefit of staying the same, as such,
Yeah. Yeah.
imagine what it's going to be like. And when I work with people, I get them to really visualize and look at different ways what it's going to feel like, look like, smell like, sound like. And then the D, do it. Make it happen.
Now, I'm just wondering if you've got a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming training in your background.
Yeah, I do.
I can tell.
Yeah, and I
Well, we're
love
both
that.
NLP practitioners.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. And I
Yeah.
love that practice because it's not about manipulation. It's about suggesting to people, well, what about this? What if this could happen?
Yes.
And it
The
just gives them another view.
hypothetical.
Because they're quite often blinkered. That's how it rolls.
Yeah, very, very good. Now, if you've got let's here's a scenario. We're coming close to the end of our time, and I'll ask you where people can get the book and all of that.
Sure,
So
sure.
it'll be in the show notes. So here's the scenario. You've got a manager who wants to encourage innovation, and they want they actually are a creative. They've got a
Yep.
creative thinking mindset. But they're noticing maybe it's one person or a group of them just sit back and just say, well, this doesn't include me because I can't come up with ideas. How can they get those people to, well, not get, that's not right, but how can we fix them?
Encourage them. How can we encourage them
Yes.
to look at things from an innovative and creative
Yes.
lens? And you actually said it. The main part of it is that the person or people or team or whatever, if the underlying belief is that's all well and good, you're the creative person, I'm not creative, that's the battle. It's not
That's
the
right.
process or the strategy around innovation. And that's where these change programs come in and say, here's the way we can make it happen. Let's address first what the person holds true. And if a group of people sit there and go, I'm not creative, or I don't have innovative ability, whether it's right or wrong, evidence-based or not, it doesn't matter. That's what we've got to address. So my perspective would be, use your skill to identify that limiting belief and use the process that we've talked about to say, right, if you want to change it, that's the big one, the motivation to change. If you want to shift it and actually become a little bit more creative, let's look at how we can shift the belief first. What's a better belief to have? Let's look at the benefits of shifting the belief versus the benefit of continuing to say you can't be creative. And then if the benefits outweigh the benefits of staying the same, well then let's imagine what it looks like. Imagine in 6 months where you've come up with a new creative concept. Or imagine what your family would say when you get promoted because of your innovative ability. It's something you never dreamt of doing, but it happened. Imagine what that would feel like. Imagine the sense of satisfaction you'd have. And then go and do it. That's the way I do it. I would really encourage the leader to not force the change and, come on, we can all be creative. Let's go to an open space and blue sky think. That can be counterproductive because inside everyone's sitting there going, but I'm not creative.
Yes.
That's what we need to deal with first.
Yes. Now, I'm thinking now, the best advice we can give managers, leaders, if they're in the workplace, is not to point the finger and say, that's a limiting belief. Flip it into a question. Could that be a limiting belief that you're holding? And let them come to their own conclusion.
Yeah, that's right. And I like, when I work with groups, I like anyone who's been a participant, I say, use me as the crutch to say, I heard this guy speak about limiting beliefs and it made me think of you. Tell me what you hold true about this. And you invite someone to open up. And like we do in any form of genuine connection, it's about coming from a position of curiosity as opposed to accusation. So you're exactly right. Don't say, hey, I just worked out you've got a limiting belief, right? That's accusatory. Instead of saying,
yes,
hey, I'm curious. I found a limiting belief for myself. Tell me what you think you might be holding true. It's an invitation to.
How can people work with you, and who do you work globally? Because we got people all around the world listening in and watching the YouTube video.
So fortunate to only recently come back from 3 months abroad, where a lot of holiday with my beautiful wife. Had an absolute ball, but we did 6 sessions. We did Barcelona, we did Zug, Switzerland, and Malta, which is where my family are from originally, my grandparents. So it's right around the globe. AnthonyBonnici.com and BrainBlinkers.com, got all that. So just get in touch with me via the website, and we work all around the globe. We'd love to help anyone, any industry.
Especially Europe. BONNICI.
So AnthonyBonnici.com.
Yeah, there it is. And where can they get the book? Is it on Amazon?
Yeah, it's not on Amazon. It's just through the website, and it's all very self-explanatory.
And can people, if they're overseas, purchase the PDF?
They can, and if you shoot me an email or a message via the web, or there's plenty of videos on YouTube that go through all the bits of it, and we've got an online program. There's lots of different things.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Anthony. It's a true delight meeting you online today again. So thank you so much for your time today.
It's been a real pleasure, Nina. Thank you so much.
My guest today is Anthony Bonnici from AnthonyBonnici.com, keynote speaker and author of the book Brain Blinkers. We talk about the 3 mental barriers to high performance: limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, and fear. And in this conversation, we unpack how a manager, how a leader can help team members with blinkers on to drop those blinkers and start thinking more creatively and embedding innovation. This is Manage Self, Lead Others podcast. My name is Nina Sunday. Until next time, bye for now.
Manage Self, Lead Others has launched the book. It's available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Not just a collection of transcripts, Nina Sunday adds her own reflections about each guest conversation. Plus, you might like to join Nina on her Substack channel, ninasunday.substack.com, for candid, behind-the-scenes conversations with 2 sharp AI hosts who riff, question, and bounce around ideas sparked by the published podcast episode. And if you're looking for a conference speaker or workshop facilitator who can up-level your team in Australia or around the world, visit brainpowertraining.com.au or ninasunday.com. Until you tune in next time.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.